It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of health care, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments receive the free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
Yeah, right now it's me, just Paul Finkelstein, but I have somebody on the phone. I'll put their picture up in just a couple of seconds so you can see who I have on the phone with me. And then when he's talking, I'll put just his picture up and I'll reduce my picture. But you were just listening to Tony Raimondo, who I met on one of the social networks that does real voiceovers. If anybody out there is doing a podcast, you want a real voiceover guy, I'll hook you up with Tony Raimondo, or you can find him at trcvoiceovers.com. But I do have a special guest, which his name is Doug Mattice. Doug Mattice. I'm going to say it 3 times because I know I'm going to get it right every time. Doug Mattice. And now I'll put up his picture side by side with me as well. Doug Mattice, are you there?
Yes, I am, and thank you for the intro.
Good. I'm glad that you made it, and you're willing to go on this podcast, and we could talk all about you and all about your business completely for free. And that's going to be the offer of the week or the month. Is that if a business owner sees this and you happen to share it on your LinkedIn, if you feel comfortable, or Facebook or wherever, we're trying to encourage people, especially you're going to want to check out the website that Doug Mattice and his wife are running and other business partners. So Doug, tell us, well, how are you today? You did answer that question already?
Yeah, so no, I'm very well. Thank you for asking. And how are you doing, Paul?
I'm doing great, and I'm glad that you're in the northeast area, probably in a small suburb of near Albany, New York. A little birdie kind of gave me a clue, maybe within a half hour, an hour from Albany.
Yes, that's correct. I'm in a very small town called Broad Alden, which most people would not be able to pronounce, but I like to say yes, upstate New York, about 30 minutes from Albany.
Gotcha. So good to have you here, and I'm about 1,000+ miles south of you in sunny Florida, but it's just about spring and summertime, if not around the corner from summertime. Officially, I guess it starts in June, I suppose. But maybe, is it hot already there?
Actually, we have had ups and downs, and we were going through some cold weather, but now, today, we are getting up to 73, so pretty comfortable.
73 is perfect. When it's 70s, the low 70s, we're like, wow, that's why people want a vacation in Florida. And you just have that just for a couple of months.
That's true.
But Doug, why don't you blab a little bit, or do you work on more than one business beside the business that we're involved with a little bit together called sparkupbiz.com? Is that your only business full-time, or are you working also as a partner with your better half, or boss babe, as it will? I have one of those too. Or do you have another business on the side or full-time as well, that you have a actual boss, or you're the boss of your business, or is your business you and your wife's business?
Well, I try to work primarily on sparkupbiz.com. No, I am not the boss. Michelle, my wife, is actually co-founder, so I am an ambassador at sparkupbiz.com. It is, as I try to keep it as close to full-time as I can, but I do also have another full-time job outside of the house where I assist a very nice gentleman with a retail business. I've also had many businesses in the past. Could say I'm a serial entrepreneur, so to speak. Back in the early 2000s, I bought, repaired, and sold many properties, as many people would say flipped. Back then, didn't really like that word, but that's the best way to explain it now. As the market crashed, I opened up a property management company, did that for 11 years, extremely stressful. Hopped out, did a little consulting like I had just mentioned, and then when Michelle came up with the sparkupbiz.com idea, I got actively involved, and then most recently launched, I'd say about 2 weeks ago, the Trailblazer program, which I headed up to really reward those that hop on board and help us grow.
That sounds awesome. Why don't we talk about your ideal best referral customers, or put another way, a business that has customers that can be your customers, or your customers, what would be your ideal customers, or a business that has customers that are ideal customers? Who would that be?
So one really great thing about sparkupbiz.com is that we have a very broad customer base. Anyone who would benefit from business networking whatsoever. So it could be any business owner, anyone in sales of any type, any coaches, even anybody with a storefront. And the nice thing is they could be doing business across the country, across the northern Americas, or it could be just across town. But any of them would benefit. Realtors, appraisers, home inspectors, vacuum cleaner salesmen. I mean, it just goes on. Everyone and anyone who would benefit from any business networking.
Excellent. So small business owners, professionals, and all the above you just said. Any business that's probably not satisfied with their current revenue could use some good networking tweaks in their marketing program. I'm sure you have a whole list of things that your wife Michelle, I guess I'll say her whole name here. It's a whole mouthful. Michelle Wolcott Matthijs. I just wanted to give a shout out to her. Hi, Michelle Wolcott Matthijs. How are you? I hope you're having a fantastic day. She's probably making a lot of money because, as I just sent her a text, she says, I have to go. I have an appointment. So wonderful. Let's see. Are you guys empty nesters, full nesters, or you have a zoo full of pets at home?
Well, we do have one fur baby, but basically we are empty nesters. My oldest daughter is in her later 20s. I have two wonderful grandbabies, and my youngest daughter is off at college. So right now we are empty nesters, but we really enjoy it when they come back to visit. I love to see my daughters. I love to see my granddaughters. Love spending time with the family. Also, it's really awesome that Michelle and I have many nights to ourselves. And Minnie, our fur baby, is here for us, and she is an attention hound. She absolutely loves attention. So anytime we want somebody to love on, she's available to us.
How many pounds?
About 60. She is what I call a dark chocolate labation. She was a rescue, and she is definitely primarily lab and black lab for the most part. But when the sun hits her, you can see that chocolate come out in her fur. And right on her breast, she has a Dalmatian spot, a white spot with dark spots. So she's a dark chocolate labation.
So to the owner, to everybody, she's just an adorable puppy, even though she's 60 pounds.
Oh, yes, definitely an adorable puppy, even though she's 60 pounds.
And let's dive into, do you guys play competitive sports with each other, with other people in town in your community? Is it a big sporting community, or is there any solo sports like biking, running, or swimming? Is there a pool that you have access to for a couple of months before it gets to winter and you go back to ice skating?
So we do enjoy swimming, and there's actually a lake nearby, the Great Sacandaga Lake. So we enjoy swimming in the Great Sacandaga Lake. We enjoy picnicking. As far as competitive sports, not so much. Outdoors, an occasional hike, that sort of thing. And then if we want to be competitive with each other, we have some really fun board games that will help during the evening just to really relax, decompress. And then when you get into more of the hobby side of sports, I'm really into motorsports. With that, Michelle really just kind of comes along. But I enjoy car shows and car events very much so.
It's great to have a cheerleader, so glad she comes along.
Yeah, She will call it my Holy Grail event. There is in Lake George, New York, they host the Adirondack Nationals, one of the largest car shows in the Northeast. And I'm there to talk to people. I'm there to see the cars. I'm there to get creative ideas, to give creative ideas. She comes along. She's there to make sure that we have meals, make sure that we have a place to watch the cruise, and to make sure we have a place to go and relax when we need to. So she's there very much so to take care of us, and it is absolutely wonderful to have someone willing to do that.
Now, what motivates you? I know all small business owners need to have something called a goal or a dream for the next 6 months or 12 months, and the short term, maybe long term, is 12 months or longer. What's the dream that you guys are chasing?
So the huge dream is to change business networking. SparkUpBiz.com has a closed API. So people get on to SparkUpBiz.com and have real conversations with real people. There is no way for a bot or any AI to get on and start chatting with you and pretending to be a person. When you start building a relationship or start getting responses on your posts on SparkUpBiz.com, it is truly another person and you're building a relationship. And so it's all about changing that dynamic and changing people's lives. And the huge potential is extremely motivating. So we're very excited that we've launched the Trailblazer program. So that in order to get us into that explosive growth range, really make this snowball, I put together a revenue sharing program so that the future we build, hopefully within 6 months, we're really rolling. People that have really helped us to get to that point are going to get really great rewards in the form of residual income. And that's really exciting, not only to change my life for the better, change Michelle's life for the better, but to change many Trailblazers program for the better. So it's really incredibly exciting, and we've got all kinds of really wonderful things to look forward to, as well as more additional things on the site. We already have live virtual networking twice a week. We've got coffee hours, we've got groups, we've got the academy where people can learn, where people can teach, and we even have video chat on the platform, sparkupbiz.com. So as time goes by, we'll just add more and more features to what is already an incredible value.
So tell us about the chats there that are on Mondays and Wednesdays and summer coffee and summer networking. Is there a huge following where you're just drowned out with 100 or 1,000 attendees, or is it a nice intimate gathering?
No, they're nice intimate gatherings, and what's going to happen as they start to get larger, we'll just simply have more of them so that they will remain, they won't get to the point where they're drowned out. They'll remain nice, small gatherings. So right now, the coffee hours are just starting up. The Network Infernos, which is the live virtual networking, are on Mondays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you get a very nice turnout of 10 to 30 people, but not so much that you get drawn out. And then as we grow and as we start to approach near 100 people, then we simply will have more of them so that they never get to the point where just everybody's drown out and it becomes very difficult. So we actually have a plan in place to bring on more people to run these events. So we've got a very clear business plan, and I'm going to continue to offer incredible value to all of our members.
And I hope to be one of them. I put out some feelers, and I'm just waiting for the email back from my company that says, "Hey, Paul, you can go full throttle." So I'm almost there, but I'm making some posts, and it doesn't hurt to keep networking, because it's a networking site is the bottom line.
Absolutely, and we've seen your post, and we really appreciate your enthusiasm. It's great to have you on the platform.
Now, at this part, we won't call it the end, even though it is getting close to the end of a podcast. I've had them go as long as an hour and a half. We're at like the 15-minute mark, just about. But do you have any last thoughts before I wrap up? And the last thought could be, if you want to mention the best way someone could reach out to you, just look up your name on LinkedIn or go to sparkupbiz.com and we'll find you somewhere in there, or you'll find them when people join. That's probably the best way. Or do you want other ways for people to reach out to you?
The absolute best way is to go on to sparkupbiz.com, which you can just Google SparkUpBiz. It'll pop up right up. You can just Google or type into the browser sparkupbiz.com. Comes right up. We've made sure that the SEO allows for it to be right there, easily accessible. And then as soon as you type in Doug M.A., it starts to come up. Also, as people come on to sparkupbiz.com, as you noticed when you joined, I do reach out and give a personal greeting. Now, at some point, as it snowballs, I won't be able to reach out to each and every single one because they'll be coming on so fast. But at that point, that's where, as I said, we have the business plan. We're going to bring on more people. It's going to be very important to us that everybody does get that personal greeting, which right now is my job. So if they wanted to find me, yes, they could find me on LinkedIn by searching my name. That's absolutely wonderful. You and I have connected there as well. But if they go to sparkupbiz.com, join, I'm going to be reaching out to them.
I think the reason why we connected on LinkedIn, though, was because we had a mutual business connection. I'll give a shout out to Mario Castellanos, who has a very interesting business in itself. And I think he's actually in mid-Florida, North Florida, a little bit. Not too far from me, so I might have to figure out a way to actually meet him in person. I've only had a chance to meet him on a podcast like this as well, which was probably like 6 or 7 years ago when I found it. So I tagged him on SparkUp on my profile. So when he sees it, I just wait to see his reaction, because I know we all looked younger about 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, well, none of us get any younger, that's for sure.
Unless we find a way. So just as a wrap up, we've been talking to Doug Mattice. That's Michelle Wolcott, Mattice, Boss Babe's other half. Michelle is the better half. He knows that. He's a smart man. He told us what he does. He told us his ideal best referral partner and customers and businesses that have customers that could be his referral partner, whether he's an empty nester or a full nester. I'll let you go back and listen. And then when he's not working, what him and his wife do and what his passions are besides biking, swimming, or running. And maybe he doesn't do any of those things, but he did mention what he does do. He has a passion over there close to the Lake George area. I know I lost not these glasses, but one of my glasses when I stood up on a motorboat on Lake George, and I had a second pair in my glove compartment, thank goodness, so I could drive home. And then we talked about what motivates you in the next 6 months or 12 months, and small business owners need to have a dream or a goal so that they could keep focused, because without a dream or a goal, you're always looking at the problems. You're looking at the challenges, you're looking at the doubts, and then that's why most businesses fail in the first 5 years or less, is because they don't have a dream or a goal, and they're always looking at the doubts. So if there's anything I'd encourage any listener to listen to is get rid of the doubts, have a dream or a goal, and start a business. I will leave the last word to my wife, my better half, or Boss Babe, is in the Medicare business. We're partners too. We're both licensed, so you can't hear this on your end as a call in. But for the next 20 seconds, I'll just play it, and then you'll see it on the recording on YouTube and Facebook. And I'll put it on LinkedIn if it lets me.
It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments receive the free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
I don't know if that was about 20 seconds, but that was Tony talking about the free ebook that just for listening you can get. If you have a loved one or a relative that's 64 to 65 and they're ready to learn about Medicare and get enrolled in Medicare and learn all about it, my wife wrote a book all about Medicare. You can pick up that book at omgtalk.com. That's omgtalk.com, or text my wife's cell at 561-302-5760, or omgtalk.com and download the book right there. It's a few links down on that site. And then I'll give Tony the last word, who's the guy you heard do the voiceover, and you'll get to hear it later. Doug Mattice, Tony's voiceover. Here it is.
You have been listening to the OMG Podcast with Paul Finkelstein. We can help you build wealth without hogging your time. Schedule a one-on-one with us. Thanks for listening. Join us again for another OMG Podcast segment.
Thanks, Doug Mattice, for joining with us. Stick around as we go off air, and we could